Hello, my beautiful movie peeps, and thank you for clicking on this video. Oh yes, look, your boy's been traveling a lot, sorry. I'm currently away from home at Fantastic Fest, where I'm hanging out with a lot of my movie friends and getting to see some spooky films. I'm gonna be checking out Black Phone 2, Strangers Chapter 2, a couple of other interesting movies, all to get just some early reviews. I saw a crazy one last night. It's about a monkey that gets rabies and starts killing people. Tons of fun. But even when I'm away from my desk, you guys know I want to provide you with the latest movie news content, and we got some big ones with The Batman, y'all. Director Matt Reeves has given us more clues and hints to who the villain will be in The Batman Part 2, and we've got to speculate on who that'll be. So that's exactly what I'll be doing here for you guys, is breaking down the latest comments by director Matt Reeves, who we think this villain is, the backlash online from a lot of fans, maybe even myself a little, on who it's looking very likely like the villain is, along with just putting to rest the merger ain't happening. The Delulu fans, again, me included, are gonna have to put a rest to Batman Part 2 and Robert Pattinson joining the DCU. Now, Batman Part 3 in the DCU? Can we start that campaign?
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
But first, I want to give a big thanks to DC Dark Legion for sponsoring today's video. Now, Batman Day is right around the corner, and for me, some of my favorite memories are those iconic Bat family moments. Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Batgirl, all fighting side by side. And that's exactly what you get to experience in DC Dark Legion. This is the official DC strategy game where you can assemble the entire Bat family, Batman, Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, Batgirl, and more, plus over 60 DC heroes and villains. You'll unlock exclusive Bat family events, original story, Easter eggs, and buffs that let you rewrite the family's legacy. Long live the Bat family. What I love is how customizable it is. You can actually build your own Bat cave, war room, armory, hangar, even a lounge where you can chill with the champions like Robin and Batgirl. And yes, you can also upgrade your vehicle for Gotham Night Patrols, or even recruit Justice League allies like Superman and Wonder Woman. Or go the other way and team up with the villains like Joker or Deathstroke. And since it's Batman Day, there is an exclusive Bat family event happening in-game right now where you can earn special gifts and rewards just for playing. So don't wait, download DC Dark Legion for free on mobile and PC today using the link in my description, or scan this QR code right here. Celebrate Batman Day with the Bat family. Long live the Bat family. Thanks again to DC Dark Legion for sponsoring this video. So a lot of this information is coming from Josh Hartwitz, honestly one of the best journalists around, because he gets to asking the questions that fans are genuinely curious about, not just a generic, so what's it like getting ready for Batman Part 2? You excited for that? Ask if Batman's going to be wearing a Batman thong or something, okay? Something I could use for a catchy headline of a YouTube video. And well, for one, Matt Reeves just, again, flat out says it without dancing around. Batman is in the Elseworld, meaning it's its own separate thing apart from DC, but he is open to directing a film in the DCU. So, like I said, Batman Part 2 is not going to be in the DCU. The merger's not happening. But the DCU movie that will happen, Batman Part 3. That's when the merger takes place. There's a foolproof plan we are headed towards, and I'm not gonna get off this train. I am too deep down the rabbit hole. I can no longer see the light. That's how deep I've gotten into this rabbit hole. I've made friends in the rabbit hole. I know Jimmy. I know Timmy. Where's Thumper? What, is he out there again? Can't see the outside of the rabbit hole, so he must be. I get loopy when I'm away from my desk. But no, yeah, like I said, I always figured the merger was not going to be happening, and my persistence on bringing it up and thinking it was a possibility was never because I wanted that. Like, come on, I love the idea of having two different Batman, a serious grounded take in its own universe, and then a fantastical crazy one in the DCU that can face off all the crazy villains that we haven't seen done. I just always thought business-wise, they might back away from that because who knows if that'll work, but hey, they're going to take the risk, and the fans are going to reap the rewards, and we'll see if it's worth it in the end. I do wonder, though, what Matt Reeves would direct in the DCU, because he does like to stay in the grounded route. But lately, he's been really fixating on, like, Batman projects. I mean, he's even a producer on the Clayface movie that's in the DCU. So I wonder if it would be a Batman project. Not necessarily Brave and the Bold, but maybe, like, a Joker spinoff in the DCU, another villain that gets a movie in the DCU. I wonder if he could do Batman Beyond, dude. That's Matt Reeves' Batman Beyond. Oh yeah. Moving on to the next thing I'm going to be delusional about until it's finally debunked, Robin being part of the Batman Part 2. He got asked point blank, is Robin someone he's considering for the Batman Part 2? And I think Matt Reeves danced around a little bit here. He said exactly, well, sure, you talk about everything. There's probably not any character that we didn't talk about. What could this be? What could that be? That's part of the beginning of anything. And look, that's a really fine answer. What I love about Matt Reeves is he's usually pretty straightforward when asked about certain things. Like, I mean, one of the famous memes of Matt Reeves is this little clip.
Interesting. No.
And he was also just even recently asked about Sophia Falcone being part of the Batman Part 2, which was a character introduced in The Penguin. That was a really interesting character that they set up for this universe. And when he was asked, he just said, no, she's not going to be in it. Nothing of like, oh, she's interesting, intriguing character. We're not done with her yet. Yeah, there's a possibility for her. He could have easily have given an answer like that. So when knowing that Matt Reeves is pretty direct and honest, being asked about whether Robin could be in this movie, and he's like, look, we talked about every character, man. We looked at the whole Batman list. So yeah, anybody's possible. It's feeding my delusions and it's making me think Robin is a real possibility. I would love that, man. I think it would go so well with the type of story they're going to tell, especially with their focusing more on Bruce Wayne this time around. What better way to explore that persona than making him an adoptive father, you know? And more just to see Matt Reeves actually take the Batman and Robin relationship seriously and not as a joke. How would that look in a serious, realistic world, you know? But let's get to the meat and potatoes of it all here. Matt Reeves gave us a hint of the villain in this movie, and it's led to a lot of speculation and some people thinking, okay, this is obviously the villain then. So first, he says that the villain in the Batman Part 2 is never really been done in a movie before, which already eliminates so many Batman villains if we just go through what have been done in the movies, from a Mr. Freeze, from a Joker, from a Scarecrow, from Bane. A lot of the big popular hits are now knocked off the list and are not looking to be the main villain of this film. And that kind of bums me because Mr. Freeze was an obvious big villain back in Batman and Robin. I really wanted to see a grounded, serious take on Mr. Freeze that I think Matt Reeves could have easily have pulled off. We ain't getting no Mr. Freeze, and that makes me sad, but okay. Taking it one step further on the villain they've chosen and their thinking behind it, saying, Matt Reeves says the villain in the Batman 2 will be connected to Bruce Wayne's history and life, picking the right villain that digs into what that does. That's what drove that discussion. I won't tell you where we ended up, but we're super excited about it, and I will say it's never really been done in a movie before. So it's a Batman villain that's gonna dig into the past, affect Batman and Bruce Wayne's life personally. Like, it could not be more obvious than what was essentially set up in the Batman Part 1. The stuff with Bruce Wayne's parents kind of having a shady past, his mom in an asylum, and the words literally hush appearing on the screen. The villain's gotta be Hush, guys. Like, right? There's no really other option on the table. And this has been a back and forth Batman fans have been having ever since the words Hush appeared on the screen about whether Hush would be the right villain or an interesting villain. Look, I have two minds of this because I am 50-50 on it, okay? One mind I know, no matter what villain Matt Reeves picks, because Matt Reeves is behind the process and making of the movie, he's going to make it work. If for some reason Matt Reeves chose Calendar Man as the main bad guy in a Batman movie, not who I would want, but I bet you he'd make the most interesting and coolest version of Calendar Man, where I'd be like, oh, dude, that guy was awesome thanks to Matt Reeves. So although having a character like Hush doesn't make me jump up and down as a main villain, I still know Matt Reeves is going to deliver something cool and a fascinating version of that character, similar to Riddler. I've always liked Riddler, and I was happy Riddler was part of the movie, and Matt Reeves took his own interpretation and liberties with it and made it an interesting and unique Riddler. But I am also kind of agreeing with the people that say, kind of a boring pick. Kind of wish it was somebody else. I also think some of those characteristics were used with the Riddler. In the same way Riddler was after Bruce Wayne, and that was kind of one of the big twists of the movie where you thought Riddler had figured out Batman's identity, and that's why Bruce Wayne was one of the targets when it really wasn't that. But you know, it still might not be Hush. It could be someone entirely different. I know Court of Owls is someone that people heavily want, and don't get me wrong, Definitely would love a Court of Owls. I think I'd find them more interesting than Hush, or maybe if it's a combination where Hush works with the Court of Owls. Part of me just feels slightly too soon for Court of Owls, because the kind of thing that makes them so interesting is like they were always in the background. They were always pulling the strings, and a second movie in, I feel like it wouldn't have that big of an impact if it was like the third movie where we got that reveal that they were always doing something in the background and Batman never noticed. Still though, again, that's just kind of my opinion with some of these updates involving Batman. I am excited for this movie nevertheless, and the only thing that actually genuinely has me worried and scared is Matt Reeves openly admitting he doesn't know if he's going to get to be able to do Batman Part 3. I think there's still a lot of flux going on with the DCU, and if we are having those two separate Batman, what happens if that other DCU Batman is more popular? If people do like that more, I think it puts the Batman Part 3 in jeopardy. Makes me scared, but the fact that they're still thinking about spin-offs and other ideas in this world, maybe we're safe, and it's just a matter of, do people still show up for the Batman almost 5-6 years after the last movie? I think that's the biggest test that they're wanting to take. Superman's getting a sort of sequel 2 years later. Batman's half a decade. That could maybe impact how many people show up, right? Anyways, though, that is just my opinion with all these updates. I want to appreciate you guys for checking this out. Leave me your thoughts and opinions on what you think of all these updates, and stay tuned on the channel for some early reviews on some spooky movies. Love your faces. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.